The air in the courtroom crackled with tension, a palpable energy that seemed to make the very walls vibrate. Princess Katina, the Grammy-nominated singer, stood defiantly before Judge Mariah, her posture unyielding and her chin held high. Her sequined gown shimmered under the harsh courtroom lights, casting tiny reflections that danced across the room. It did little to soften the defiance in her eyes, which burned with a fierce intensity.
Miss Katina, sit down.
Judge Mariah, known for her no-nonsense demeanor, glared down from the bench, her voice echoing through the silent courtroom, demanding respect.
I don't think I will.
Princess Katina smirked, leaning closer to the microphone on the defendant's table, her confidence unwavering. Her voice dripped with disdain, each word a deliberate act of rebellion. A collective gasp swept through the courtroom, a wave of shock and disbelief. The audience, a mix of journalists and curious onlookers, leaned forward in their seats, eager to catch every detail of the unfolding drama. This was better than they could have hoped, a real-life drama playing out before their eyes. Judge Mariah's face flushed crimson, her anger barely contained.
You will show this court some respect.
She roared, slamming her gavel with a force that echoed through the room.
Bailiff.
But it was too late. The tension in the room had reached a breaking point. The bailiff, a burly man named Barry, hadn't even had time to react, his eyes wide with surprise. Princess Katina, with a swiftness that belied her glamorous appearance, pulled a small silver pistol from her clutch purse, her movements fluid and precise, leaving the courtroom in stunned silence. The shot rang out, deafening in the stunned silence of the courtroom. People screamed, ducking for cover beneath benches. Princess Katina remained standing, a plume of smoke curling from the end of the gun. Judge Mariah stared down in disbelief at the blood blooming on her crisp white blouse. Chaos erupted. Barry, the bailiff, finally sprang into action, his face pale.
Gun!
He shouted needlessly as he fumbled for his own weapon. The courtroom spectators were a mass of panicked screams and scrambling bodies. Princess Katina, seemingly unfazed by the pandemonium she had unleashed, blew a kiss towards the injured judge. Two court officers, Melissa Morales-Langley and Sunshine Anderson, rushed Princess Katina, who was known for her fiery temper and unpredictable behavior. They moved with a practiced efficiency that came from years of handling unruly defendants, their every motion a testament to their training and experience. Melissa, a seasoned veteran with a calm demeanor, grabbed Princess Katina's gun hand, forcing it upwards with a firm grip. Sunshine, quicker and more agile, moved to secure the singer's legs, her movements swift and precise.
Get your filthy hands off me, you have no right.
Princess Katina shrieked, her voice echoing through the corridor, kicking and scratching like a wildcat, her fury evident in every movement. Her designer heels became weapons, striking out with surprising force, connecting with shins and ankles, causing the officers to wince but not relent.
Don't you know who I am? I'm Princess Katina.
But Melissa and Sunshine held firm, their faces grim and determined. They had heard it all before, the pleas and threats of the famous and powerful. Fame was no shield against the law, and today was no exception. The drive to the police station was no less chaotic. Princess Katina, handcuffed but unbowed, continued her tirade from the back of the police cruiser. She slammed her head against the divider, her voice a mixture of sobs and curses.
You're all going to regret this. I'll have your badges. I'll have your jobs.
Melissa, in the driver's seat, kept her eyes fixed on the road. Sunshine, in the passenger seat, occasionally glanced in the rearview mirror, her expression a blend of annoyance and concern. Her threats were met with silence. The wail of the siren was the only response she received. The flashing lights of a gas station sign briefly illuminated the inside of the cruiser.
I'm hungry. Can we get burgers?
Sunshine sighed.
We're not stopping for burgers, Katina.
They sat for a moment at a red light, the only sound the rumble of the engine and the distant thump of music from a passing car. Princess Katina watched longingly as a group of teenagers piled out of a beat-up Honda at the Flying Dutchman. They were laughing, carefree. For a moment, just a fleeting moment, Princess Katina envied their normalcy. The police station, a drab building with flickering fluorescent lights, did nothing to improve Princess Katina's mood. The atmosphere was oppressive, the air thick with tension and the smell of stale coffee. The walls, painted a dull grey, seemed to close in on her, amplifying her sense of dread. As soon as the cruiser pulled into the Sally port, her earlier calm vanished. The reality of her situation hit her like a ton of bricks, and panic set in. The confined space of the car felt suffocating, and she could feel her heart racing. She erupted again, a whirlwind of flailing limbs and high-pitched screams. Her voice echoed off the walls, a cacophony of fear and anger. The officers tried to calm her, but their words were lost in the chaos. It took 4 officers to finally wrestle her out of the car and into the station. She fought them every step of the way, her resistance fueled by a mix of fear and defiance. The struggle was intense, and it was clear that she was not going to go quietly.
This is an outrage! I demand to see my lawyer! Her voice was shrill, cutting through the noise of the station. She was determined to make her demands heard, no matter the cost.
The booking process was a nightmare. The station was crowded, the air filled with the sounds of shouting and the clatter of paperwork. Officers moved with a weary efficiency, their faces etched with fatigue. Princess Katina refused to cooperate, spitting, biting, and kicking at anyone who came near her. Her resistance was fierce, and it took all the officers' strength to keep her under control. Her demands were met with the same weary indifference that had greeted her all night. The officers, used to such outbursts, barely reacted, their expressions remaining stoic and unyielding. In the end, it took 6 officers, a taser, and a whole lot of patience to get Princess Katina processed and into a holding cell. The ordeal left everyone exhausted, but finally the station returned to a semblance of order, the chaos momentarily subdued.